Good morning. Today we'll discuss overview of using data. Under this chapter, we'll discuss the definition and goals of data, then different types of data. In business analytics, data is one of the very important thing. Data will be collected from different domain with different locations in different forms. This will be analyzed and summarized for presentation and interpretation. So this can be defined in another way, like data are the facts and figures collected from different sources and analyzed and summarized for presentation and interpretations. The next one is variable. Variable is a thing that if you take a value A will have a value 5 or 3 or 2. So you may have different value for a variable. So it can be defined a characteristics or a quantity of interest that can take on different values is known as variable. Next one is observation. An observation is a set of values corresponding to set of variables. If you take a set of values like 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, you have set of values. All these values will be mapped with some set of variables like A, B, C, D like that. Okay. It is an observations. Which value is mapped with which other variables. It is observations. The other one is variations. Variation is the difference in a variable measured over observation. For example, if you give variable like A is having some value. How the value will be varied, we need to observe. So if you read the note, you'll be able to understand easily. Practically every problem that an organization faces is concerned with the impact of the possible values of relevant variables on the business outcomes. Now if you take this table, is one very important table. The same table can be referred for on the other slides also. You can look at this table carefully. Here we have company details, and for each and every company we have a symbol over here, and the industry, the nature of the company, the industry is given listed over here. Then the share price is given over here. Then the volume of the share is given over here. So from this help of this table, we are going to identify different type of data. Now we'll see the types of data. Data can be categorized in several ways based on how they are collected and the type of data. The data can be collected in different ways. How the data can be collected and what type of data is going to be collected. So based on these two parameters, the data can be categorized like population and sample data, then quantitative and categorical data, then cross-sectional and time series data. Now we'll say one by one. Population and sample data. In many cases, it is not feasible to collect data from population of all elements of interest. For example, if you want to collect data from populated data, it is very difficult. It is not feasible. Instead of going for that, you can try to identify the subset of the population and you can take the data. So if you take the data from the subset, then that will be called as sample. The second one is given. In such instance, we collect data from a subset of the population known as sample. It is often interpreted to represent the larger population of all publicly traded companies. Here, if you taken a sample, the sample data will represent the population, the population data. That is a large population data. It is very important to collect sample data that are representative of the population data so that generalization can be made from them. Here we have collected sample data which is taken from the subset of the populations. So this sample data can be acting as a representative data for this population data. So that is given over here. Then in most cases a representative sample can be gathered by random sampling of the population data. So population data is nothing but it's a large amount of data. Instead of taking the sample from particular subset itself, you can take different sample from different subset. By that there is no order over there, so it is called random sampling. So dealing with these populations and the samples can introduce subtle differences in how we calculate the interpret summary statistics. In almost all practical applications of business analytics, we will be dealing with only sample data. Once if you know how to collect the sample data from which subset, then for all other process we'll be always using sample data only. So the next type is quantitative and categorical data. The quantitative and categorical data, again we have to see what the table we have to refer. The data are considered quantitative data if numeric and arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication and divisions can be performed on them. See, if you take any data if it is in numeric and if you are able to do arithmetic operations also, then the data will be called as quantitative data. In other way, we can define, for instance, if we can sum the values for volume in the data table, which is already shown, I told you, to calculate the total volume of all shares traded by companies included in DOE. DOE is nothing but the table content. So there we have column like volume, there we have number of values. You will be able to summarize the value, you will be able to do arithmetic operations also. Every values are in numeric. So it will be called as quantitative data. If you go to categorical data, then data will be available that will not be a numeric. That will not be numeric, but you can summarize the data. You can summarize the data. You cannot perform arithmetic operation. That is called categorical data. See, if arithmetic operations cannot be performed on the data, they are considered categorical data. We can summarize the categorical data by counting the number of observations or computing the proportions of observations in each category. For instance, the data in the industry column, the table which we already referred to, the table you have to remember, we call. In this particular table, we have a column like industry, okay, it is a categorical. So why? Because in industry column, we have listed number of industries, manufacturing industry like that, we have listed number of industries. All the industry are, you can summarize, but you cannot do any arithmetic operations. Okay. So it is a categorical data. So we can count the number of companies in the DOE that are in the telecommunication industries. Table shows 2 companies in the telecommunications industry, AT and T, and Verizon Communications. However, we cannot perform arithmetic operation on the data in the industry column. Why? Because there is no numeric. Even though we have data, there is no numeric values, so we cannot do any arithmetic operations. But even though it is a data, so it is coming under categorical data. Now, cross-sectional and time series data. See here, for a statistical analysis, it is important to distinguish between cross-sectional data and time series data. I can summarize first of all. The cross-sectional data in the sense, you have some data which can be collected from different entities at the same or approximately same point in time. For example, you can take the data in table are cross-sectional. The table which is already given is a cross-sectional because they describe 30 companies that are comprised the DOE. So it is everything is taken from DOE index only. At the same point in time, the time if you take, it is April 2013. See, all the data you taken from DOE only, the same point in time also, that is April 2013. So if you take several data from several entities but at the same and approximately same point in time, that will be called as cross-sectional data. In case of time series data, the data will be collected over several time periods. For example, 2013 to 2015, 2002 to 2013, like that, several time periods you can take. The graph time series data are frequently found in business and economic publications. Such a graph helps analysts understand what happened in the past. If you give a periodical data, then this will help for the analysis to understand what was happened in the past. Then they identify the trends over time and project future levels for the time series. For example, the graph, you can see the graph of the time series in figure is given here. The next slide, value from February 2002 to 2013. Here you can see graph. The DJI value, okay, if you take 2002, it is almost 10,000 or in between 10,000 to 11,000. The same way, it is at instant, you are going to take the values. Okay. But if it is a time series, we are going to take 2002 to 2013. So in between, we are going to take different data. These are the different data. Here, by taking this time series data, you can understand what has happened in 2003, what has happened in 2004 or 2005. Like that, you can take. So by taking only one data from 2002 itself, we may not be able to predict this this value. Why? Because in 2002 it is in between 10 to 11, but in 2009 it is coming around 6,000. Okay. Again, if you go to 2013, it is going 14,000. So it is going 14,000. So by taking cross-sectional data, sometimes it won't help you, but time series data will help you. Why? Because we have taken data in time period, so you'll be able to get more information. Okay. And this is a source data. Okay. So it is very important where we are going to take the data. What is the source of data? By that only, based on that source of the data only, we will do some analysis. So data necessary to analyze a business problem or opportunity can often be obtained with the appropriate study. Such statistical studies can be classified. Again, the source of data can be classified like experimental or observational. In case of experimental, we can take a variable of interest which is first identified. Which variable for which one we are going to map. So first it should be identified. Then one or more other variables are identified and controlled or manipulated, so that data can be obtained about how they influence the variable of interest. Okay. So here you can take for BP, for blood pressure, if you want to find a dosage. Okay. So you can take blood pressure is the variable of interest. For that, you can find out the new drug and you can apply dosage by dosage, and finally you will be getting a dosage which can be suitable for the interest variable, that is blood BP. That is experimental. So through experimental, we are getting values like this. And observation in the sense, you can take review. Okay, it is a non-experimental or observational studies make no attempt to control the variables of interest. A survey is perhaps the most common type of observational studies. This we can take observational forms. Here we have number of surveys. Based on different parameters, they are going to give excellent, good, average, fair, or poor. So for all these, based on this all, we are going to review this one. So here only observations. There is no arithmetic operation. There is no process. Okay, there is no mapping at all. So only observation. So based on the observation, you will be able to select it. So that's all. So you can put your queries in comment box. Again, I'm telling you, this presentation was prepared according to your syllabus as well as your textbook. So please concentrate only this presentation. You will be able to record more number of more data. Sorry for the disturbance. Thank you.